یک مرد منحصر به فرد، مسلط، متمرکز، قابل اعتماد و رضایتمند. چنین مردی باشید. به ما در مسیر رسیدن به قلب مردانگی بپیوندید و خود برترتان را درون خود بیابید. کارگاه شرافت، عزت کلام و مهارت به رهبری دکتر آزیتا سایان ارائه شده توسط شرکت امبریس گروث در ایروان 9 تا 11 آگوست. همین امروز ثبت نام کنید و شاهد تحول زندگیتان باشید. برنامه دنیای عشق با دکتر آزیتا سایان، برنامه‌ای که تمامی سوالهای شما را جواب می‌دهد. ازدواج، عشق، سکس، همجنسگرایی، فرزندان، والدین، خیانت. از یوتیوب لایو استریم، فیسبوک و اینستاگرام لایو. سه شنبه ها و پنج شنبه ها 10 شب به وقت ایران و 10:30 صبح به وقت لس آنجلس. تلفن تماس با استودیو 818 532 66 55.
Good evening. Welcome to Love Talk. My name is Gregory Morgan, and if you are joining my show for the very first time, thank you. Thanks for tuning in. Many times, it's easy to feel trapped by the circumstances of our lives, as if we were a victim, as if life was happening to us, that we were helpless to do anything about the circumstances of our lives. And nothing could be further from the truth. I'm here to tell you that the reason that we have named our company Embrace Growth is precisely because Embrace Growth in and of itself, just the name, is, you would say in NLP, an embedded command or suggestion. We're suggesting with the name of our company that you embrace the circumstances in your life that are challenges and that you embrace them as opportunities to grow. Now, sometimes we're faced with challenges and opportunities that may seem overwhelming in our lives. That may seem like I don't have the wherewithal, I don't have the circumstances or the tools or the technology or the understanding or the mental, spiritual, or emotional grasp to deal with these circumstances in my life. And that's why we opened this company called Embrace Growth, so that we could share our knowledge and share the technology that I've accumulated over a lifetime, and that my wife, Dr. Azita Sayan, I forgot to mention that Embrace Growth, my wife and I founded the company called Embrace Growth. So my wife and I, Dr. Azita Sayan, created this company to promote well-being and transformation and to leave legacy of love and empowerment for future generations. Now, many people watching this show, you and I, didn't necessarily grow up in an environment of empowerment. We didn't necessarily grow up with parents and school teachers and religious leaders and politicians, and in other words, as children growing up, we didn't necessarily have people around us that empowered us, that said you can do anything. Anything that you put your mind to, you can do it. You deserve to have the best. Anything that is challenging you is an opportunity to grow. I didn't have that in my neighborhood. My teachers didn't necessarily tell me that. My parents didn't necessarily tell me that. I had one very major blessing in my life. I've had many, many blessings in my life, but at a very early age, my father, although he was very strict and he didn't take any back talk, and he was a tough man, he was also a very empowering. He believed in me, and he thought that I could do anything. And I guess the part that was a little disempowering was that he thought I should be able to do anything. There were times when I was up against challenges that I would be belittled because I wasn't able to meet those challenges. But at the same time, I was made to feel proud of myself and to sort of buck up and find the energy, find the wherewithal, and find the resources within myself. And it often challenged me beyond my current day abilities. And I would turn inwardly, and I found spiritual solace. I would pray, I would concentrate, I would meditate, I would find a way to overcome the obstacles. And so I've been doing this for a lifetime. And so in that lifetime search for helping people have better choices in life, more choices, which could be a pretty good description of freedom if you think about it. Isn't freedom having the opportunity to pursue more choices and also having the ability to fulfill on those choices and also the responsibility to fulfill those choices in a way that is not harmful to other people. In other words, to live the most fulfilling life possible, to be able to take hold of all of the opportunities that come your way and to ethically and morally fulfill on all the opportunities in your life in such a way that it's not harming anybody, that it is the most fulfilling possible expression of who you truly are and who you are here to be. That's a little bit about what Embrace Growth is about, and maybe that was kind of all over the map a little bit. I'm sure when I watch this video I may think that, but I wanted to say a little bit about the background of where we're coming from as opposed to what we're trying to get to. You know, what we're trying to get to or what our goals in the future as far as myself and the company of Embrace Growth is really just to leave a legacy of love for future generations. Pure and simple. To leave a legacy for future generations of love and honor and self-respect, self-empowerment, and self-fulfillment. So if that is something that speaks to you, if that is something that resonates with you or touches your heart, then you've come to the right place. You're watching the right show. This is Love Talk. I'm here mainly to speak to you a little bit about what works and doesn't work in relationships. And I'm going to go ahead and take this first one here. Hello, this is Gregory, and you're live on the air.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
I want to congratulate you, first of all, for your wife, that she is such a special person.
Yes, she is.
I'm so proud of Iranian.
Thank you.
And she is such a capital for Iran and children of Iran and the future.
Yes, I believe that's true.
I want to ask you about something about comfort zone.
Okay.
Because, you know, everybody lives in some kind of the comfort zone. That from that comfort zone and everything what happened and everything as a different moment, sad moment, happy moment, how we can make our comfort zone wider and wider.
Okay, that's a great question. So your question is about how can we make our comfort zone wider and wider, and that's a brilliant question. And I want to start by saying that there is no learning, there's no growth and development inside of your comfort zone. So the focus of that question is in the opposite direction of where I'm going to go, all right? All learning, all growth, all self-fulfillment will always be outside of your comfort zone.
Exactly. Yeah.
So growth and development will be uncomfortable. You can't stay comfortable and grow and develop yourself. And so consequently, if you stay in your comfort zone, what is absolutely predictable is that your comfort zone will become smaller and smaller. In other words, you'll become more and more uncomfortable as the world, which is constantly expanding and growing and learning and developing and doesn't care one bit about your comfort, right? The world doesn't care about your comfort.
Exactly.
Your mother did when you were a child, and maybe she still does as an adult, but for the most part, the rest of the world could give two hoots about your comfort. The world is just doing what it's doing. Life is developing and growing with or without you. And so if you're not developing and growing, you're actually shrinking.
Precisely, yeah.
Yeah? People come to us wanting to get comfortable about something that they're uncomfortable about. You come up against a challenge or something in your life and it's very uncomfortable, yeah? You have some emotional discomfort. You may even have some physical sensations, even some mental discomfort. Of course, it's natural as human beings. We want to move away from discomfort and towards comfort, which is totally natural. And another way of saying that is you move away from pain and towards pleasure. Everybody's doing that. all the time. You're doing it, I'm doing it. The stove is hot, I want to move away from the pain and towards pleasure, meaning no sensation on my hand, right?
Precisely.
Right. My growth and development at Embrace Growth is about, oh, you have something that's making you uncomfortable. Now, the first thing I would say is it's probably not the first time. It's very rare that you would get into adulthood and meet a brand new circumstance for the very first time that you've never experienced, although that does happen if you're exploring. If you're exploring life, you're going to run into circumstances, people, things, emotional upsets, things like that, that you've never run into before. That's a great sign that you're growing and that you're developing. At that point, I would say, okay, great. This is a new opportunity for me. And begin to explore, what is it about this that makes me uncomfortable? Is it just that I'm unfamiliar? Do I feel weak? Do I feel afraid? Do I feel insufficient? Does it make me angry? What is it about that? And you begin to explore that thing until you actually not only understand it, but you're able to be in the presence of whatever's making you uncomfortable and actually be comfortable.
Precisely, yes.
So it's not about, and guess what's just happened when you've done that? You've expanded your comfort zone. You've expanded your comfort zone to include something that previously made you uncomfortable.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Can I ask something?
Sure.
My main problem is about, I'm from some kind of optimist people,
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it is because of my job, and I do different job, different country. But I challenge in my job with the people who are not optimists. They are so pessimist,
Yep.
And I must convince them.
Yep.
To do something, and again, but I never give it up because I see it. I don't see it as a. I can see it as a challenge, but I stand up for my optimism.
Yes.
But sometimes I get some sad moment, I can't judge it as a bad things, but I say it as a sad moment.
Yes, I understand that.
It costs so much energy, to convince the people to build some, picture from the future and to put on the dynamic of a corporation.
Yes.
And I see that sometimes I lose so many time and energy to convince and train the people just.
Yes. Now,
to reach the goal of, the mission.
Here's the thing, and I really get that. Could you understand that maybe in my business I might have a similar experience?
You make me happy.
Yeah, I have the similar experience in my in my profession as well, because I see what's possible for human beings, and I have a vision of them for the future that is so much brighter than the one they're experiencing, and then I'm working really hard to get them to buy into that vision of the future so that they get excited and enthusiastic about it as well, but in this case it's about their life. It's not about their business or how to make more money or something like that, although it may include that.
Nicely, yes.
Yeah, but sometimes it's just about having a better life, a better relationship, being happier as a human being. And so I could get disappointed. Well, I learned something recently after years and years of work, and I'm going to share it with you now and everybody on the station, okay?
Thank you.
They have to do it. You are working really, really hard, and what you're sad about is that you're more committed to the positive outcome than they are. And they're sort of sitting back saying, like, convince me, and so they're letting you pull the wagon all by yourself. And so I let people know right up front that, and also I learned one thing. Who cares what I see for them? What really matters is what do they see? And when they see the future that you're excited and enthusiastic about, they'll get excited about it. Yes? I work with people before they ever even come to my office. I send them some questions to answer, and I work with them in order to gather information about what it is that's truly bothering them, and what would it be like if they didn't, what would their life be like if that problem is completely gone? Let's say I had a magic wand and I could take that problem completely away and they never had that problem ever again, then what would their life look like? Please describe that to me in detail. And so right away, their subconscious mind, and this is part of neurolinguistics and hypnosis, their subconscious mind will begin to create images and thoughts, inspirations accompanied with feelings about a future without that problem in it. You see that?
Yes.
Yeah? So really their own subconscious mind begins to create that future. Then I work with them to eliminate the problem, which, believe it or not, is very easy. It's easier than you think. Don't you, when you say you work with companies, do you help them figure out problems?
Yes, you know, that 7 years I worked in Holland, and for high educate newcomer, I designed a project for newcomers in Holland who want to be a teacher.
Okay.
And you know, it was a big project, and I need many people. I am Iranian. I need the cooperation from many Dutch people, you know.
Yep.
In the beginning of that process, I must to convince one by one, you know, that they cooperate and do something.
Yes.
And when the project was, you know, started, and it was a big success, and we get a prize from the Minister of Education.
Congratulations.
And, you know, I see that they lose themselves just in, I can say that egoistic, you know, phases, you know, that they were so busy just with the face of that project. And I was constantly busy, you know, to make
behind the scenes
project better and better, to sell it, for example, to Denmark, to Sweden, you know.
Right.
And I see that they lose the motivation. They want just to be a winner without any action, you know.
I understand that. I understand that. So, yeah, that is one of the difficulties of working with corporations, isn't it?
Your team is, I see always the team as part of myself. I never put my up the team, or, you know, I'm part of the, you know, that dynamic, and I try to, you know, you told me as a you know, wagon who take all the, you know, train behind himself. But I did it, and I do it, and I will do it. But sometimes it's, you know, so big, sad time and disappointing, you know, that.
Well, here's my suggestion to you, if I may make one, and then I want to go ahead and open up the phone lines to other people as well. But my suggestion to you is that you find people in your life who are better at what you do than you are. A mentor, a coach, somebody who can see beyond where your current vision can see, and you do whatever it takes to spend time with them, even if you have to pay them, that you find a way to spend time with a mentor that has a grander vision and who can see the things that you can't see. It's important to always, if you're going to lead, especially if you're going to lead a lot of people, it's important to have a mentor or a coach or somebody that you can follow, that you trust, and who is there 100% for your well-being. Because when you're leading a lot of people, it's easy to get tired. It's easy to feel like, oh, it's not worth it, or I'm losing. And some days you'll just want to drop the whole thing. And that's when it's important to have somebody that you can look up to and say, hey, this is what I'm feeling today. And then they can get up underneath you and support you and guide you to a higher vision. That's absolutely essential. If you're going to lead people, make sure you're being led by someone or something, even if it's a higher spirit. But you must always be being led. It's important to be a follower as well as a leader. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Thank you very much. My name is Daniel Ashrafi, and I get many good advice, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Daniel. I'm honored to speak with you. Thanks for calling.
Speak with you too, and my big regard to your lovely wife, and we are all proud of her.
Okay, well, me too. All right. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Bye bye. All right, great. So what I was hearing inside of Daniel's conversation just now was his commitment to integrity. You know, many people think of integrity as being the right thing to do or the good thing to do. The only reason it would be right and good is because it's what works. And when you're working inside of integrity and you're working towards a greater vision, you're going to be inspired. You're going to be turned on, and you're going to find opportunities and motivations that you hadn't previously even thought about. Often when you're working inside of integrity, inside your own vision or context of integrity, you'll find that we're living in a world where the world is not calling for or pulling for integrity. In fact, for the most part, people are pulling for no integrity. In other words, how can I get by, get the most amount of money, the most amount of acknowledgement, the most amount of social status, the most amount of attention with doing the least amount? Now, there's nothing wrong with that. It simply has no integrity. In other words, people are not getting acknowledged and fulfilled for something that they've actually accomplished, overcome, or proven. They're simply getting acknowledgement for somebody else's work. And then they stand in the spotlight. And that's what Daniel was pointing to. There's simply no integrity in it, and that's what hurts. That's what's the painful part of that. Not so much that it's shameful or that it doesn't, that it's not a true reflection, but simply that in the end it doesn't work, because all of the hard work that went into that project, all of the love and the self-sacrifice and the attention that goes into a relationship, into a marriage, into an education, into the building of a reputation or a bank account or a family. Many of us spend 20 years, 30 years, 40 years building something, and only to see it dissolve and fall apart right in front of our eyes. And I promise you that every time that's happened, it's been because of a lack of integrity. It's been somebody let it go. Somebody didn't do what needed to be done when it needed to be done. Somebody didn't follow through and do what would be expected of them even when no one's watching. So really, that's all that integrity is. And so I wanted to talk about integrity today, because all of our relationship problems that I have ever seen come into our office have to do with a lack of integrity, a simple lack of doing what works. Now, does doing what works mean you like it? Not necessarily. Does doing what works mean that you want to do it? Not every day. Does doing what works in relationship mean that you always feel like it? Not necessarily. Doing what works is simply doing what you know works, whether or not you feel like it, whether you like it, whether you want to, whether anybody's watching or even ever will know that you did the right thing. You do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. And any other choice makes you a fraud, makes you a phony. The worst news about that is that even if nobody knows that you're a fraud and a phony, you do. So who you become for yourself is a fraud and a phony. Now, I don't personally know any frauds or phonies that are happy and fulfilled, that are living a fulfilled, happy, self-expressed life. Everybody that I know that's a fraud and a phony is always looking out for not getting caught being a fraud and a phony. And how much fun is that? So, how much fun is it to get up today, to look into the mirror and see yourself and know that you're lying even to yourself, that who you are and who you have become for yourself is someone who can't be trusted, somebody who, when they say that they're going to do something and that they're going to do it by a certain time, they may do it, they may not, it'll probably be late, they'll probably show up with some kind of an excuse about why it didn't get done. What's it like to get up in the morning and look in the mirror or face your life and know that it doesn't work and that it's not likely to start working anytime soon, and that all of the things that you've done to make it work are not going to work, and that is the result of a lack of integrity. It's a result of a lack of being true to yourself. Being true to others is easy once you're true to yourself. Everybody's worried about, will somebody be true to me? Can I trust them? That's not the question. That's an irrelevant question. The answer to that question will not give you any peace and happiness. Whether or not you can trust other people has everything in the world to do with, can I trust me? Can you trust yourself? When you can trust yourself to act with integrity and to act from integrity. So that may sound like a funny way of talking. Acting with integrity means that you do what you say you'll do when you say you're going to do it, and you do it whether anybody knows that you did it or not. In other words, you do what would be expected or what you might expect others to do. That would be acting with integrity. Coming from integrity is facing the world or living your life, being who you are, and being in a state of already integrity, already and always integrity. Now, most people, me included, okay, have lived our lives from the point of view that 100% integrity is not even a possibility. It's not even possible to have 100% integrity. That would be like cleaning your house so perfectly clean that it never got dirty again. That would be impossible. Eating such a great meal that you never have to eat again, or something like that. Because life is ongoing, because life is changing constantly, because there is a random and capricious nature to the universe, and because we are constantly attracting new and different things to ourselves, it is imperative that we face the world from being in a state of integrity. Being in a state of integrity, like whatever comes along, I'm going to deal with it honorably. I'm going to the best of my ability, face life with integrity. Does that mean you always know what to do? No, but life does get simple. Many times I'm faced with dilemmas in which I really don't know what to do. And, it looks like if I do this, it's going to cost that, and if I do this, it's going to cost that, and that person might get hurt, or I might get hurt. So I sometimes look at situations, and I'm sure you've faced with this in your life as well, in which, what is the right thing to do? And if I get really quiet inside myself and listen to that place of integrity, and we all have this, you have it too, to that place of integrity that just knows what's right. And I ask this simple question: what has integrity here? What's the path of integrity? What's the right thing to do? Never mind what it costs or whether I like it or not. What's the right thing? Inevitably, something will open up that gives me an opportunity to try something that maybe I hadn't seen before, to take a path. And very often, it's the thing that I knew all along. Very often, it's the thing that I kind of knew was the right thing to do. So integrity may be that it's a subconscious state. It may be something that we know on the inside, but not necessarily consciously.
یک مرد منحصر به فرد، مسلط، متمرکز، قابل اعتماد و رضایتمند. چنین مردی باشید. به ما در مسیر رسیدن به قلب مردانگی بپیوندید و خود برترتان را درون خود بیابید. کارگاه شرافت، عزت کلام و مهارت به رهبری دکتر آزیتا سایان ارائه شده توسط شرکت امبریس گروث در ایروان 9 تا 11 آگوست. همین امروز ثبت نام کنید و شاهد تحول زندگیتان باشید.
Good evening. Welcome back to Love Talk. My name is Gregory Morgan if you're joining us for the first time, and today we're talking about what works and doesn't work in relationships, and we're talking about the aspect of relationships and life that I call integrity. And I'm working with you to distinguish the difference between integrity, like a state of wholeness and completion, like what works. The difference between that and the moral and ethical and sometimes legal judgments about what works and doesn't work. Okay, so wholeness and completion is more about having things be whole, being nothing missing. When I talk about something being complete, I'm talking about something that has integrity. I've often used the example of a bicycle racer or a bicycle wheel. If a bicycle wheel has spokes, now I know they have another kind now, but a bicycle wheel has spokes, and if you were racing a bicycle, if you were a Tour de France or a long distance racer or a speed racer, you would want every spoke in that wheel to be there. In other words, so that the wheel was whole and complete. Yes, but then what would have integrity is that with all of the spokes there and the tire in perfect shape and the wheel perfectly round and in balance, you would also want to have each of those spokes tuned to the same tension so that they were all equal, right? And this would give the wheel the absolute best balance, ability to have the least amount of resistance. So when life, your life, my life, your relationships, your finances, your health, your marriage, your education, when your life is in a state of balance and harmony with nothing missing, would you really take off on a race with Lance Armstrong with some spokes missing out of the tire of your bicycle? I don't think so. I think you would want each and every one of them to be checked and double-checked and make sure that it was in the highest operable state. In other words, a state of workability. And so I'm talking about integrity today because people don't live their lives like integrity is even possible. We live our lives as if it was some unattainable state, and it's not. I didn't say it was easy. I didn't say you would even like it that much. You will love it, but it's not always comfortable. One of my first callers, he called about expanding your comfort zone. In the speaking of expanding your comfort zone, we have to speak about having integrity, because as you begin to have integrity, there'll be a lot of things you'll notice. First of all, you'll be uncomfortable with how much out of integrity there is in your lives, in your health, in your closet, in your kitchen, in the glove compartment of your car, in your checkbook, in your relationships. There's things that need to be cleaned up, but each and every one of those things is doable. You may have a garage that's full of junk, but it is possible to clean up that garage. You may have a lot of things in your past or in your relationship that you haven't communicated. It is possible to communicate all of those things and to get them all resolved. And so when I'm talking about integrity, I'm talking about literally tuning up your life. Now, many times in this show, I've talked about that we as human beings are made up of multiple dimensions, overlapping realms of reality, if you will. It might be easy if I could put them on a chart or something like that, but basically you are mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical, and not necessarily in that order. I'd say you're more like a spiritual being that has thoughts and feelings and manifests in a physical body. So you're a spiritual being having a physical experience. Because all of these realms overlap, it's a little difficult to talk about having integrity in one realm without including the others. So I want to point out that when you begin to have integrity in your life, you begin to put integrity in the things you can put integrity into. For example, you can clean out your glove compartment in your car. You can get your paperwork in order. You can clean up your closet. You can clean up your finances. All of those things are doable, okay? When you begin to go on the path, and this reflects back to my original conversation where I was saying coming from integrity, not trying to get to it, but coming from a state of integrity. I am. In other words, you say to yourself, I am that I will restore integrity to my life. I am restoring integrity to my life. It's a place to come from. So what are you doing today? I'm restoring integrity to my life. What are you up to? I'm restoring integrity in my life. Where are you going? I'm restoring integrity to my life. In other words, when it is where you're coming from, the reason you're doing what you're doing is to restore integrity to your life. Here's the spiritual part, okay? Here's the part that is a little bit hard to grasp or understand. Here's the part that reaches beyond your normal everyday logic and, into the realm of, wow, how did that happen, okay? When you come from integrity, as if no matter what, you are restoring integrity to your life, something almost magical begins to happen. You find yourself energized. You find yourself inspired. You find yourself in touch with something that maybe you forgot a long time ago that runs through your life like a current of self-knowing, like why I'm here, what I'm up to in my life, what my life is for. And another thing begins to happen that's kind of hard to understand, and I've noticed. There are coincidences. They appear to be coincidences. I call it synchronicity. When your intention and the intention of the universe or God or what wants to happen, when your intention is lined up with what wants to happen, it's as if the entire universe goes into agreement with you and begins to send support, People will show up. People will call you from out of the blue. Hey, I was just thinking about you. And they will, resources and circumstances that were unforeseen and unimaginable will begin to occur in your life in such a way that your intention to create and restore integrity in your life will become easier and easier to fulfill. We're talking about integrity and about how your intention to restore integrity with your life is aligned with, it's in harmony with, it resonates with the intention of the universe, the intention of God, if you will, the intention of your own spiritual essence, your own higher consciousness will begin to resonate with the intention to restore integrity in your life. And life will begin to start working, and those things in your life that don't work, you know those things? Those people, those circumstances, those relationships, they will begin to fall away. They will begin to become disinterested. They will begin to not work more and more, or else they will start to harmonize with what is working and they will change. And all you have to do is come from integrity. Like, no matter what happens, no matter what the circumstances, the time, the situation, or who I'm with, I will restore integrity. I will be a place where integrity happens. So around me, there's integrity. It's a declaration that you can make into your life, and the best I can tell you is that some invisible part of yourself, some higher invisible part of yourself is listening for that, is waiting for that, is wanting that, and has the ability and the power and the wherewithal to assist and to cause that to happen in your life. Now, that's about it, and it is an energetic response to your intention and your actions, demonstrating that you intend to completely have integrity in your life. Are there tips and technologies and things to learn and reminders and things to do? You bet. It's not like, you're going to go right out and start doing this on your own by yourself. You would want to surround yourself. I recommend that you would want to surround yourself with people like-minded. In other words, people who have integrity, people who want integrity, and I'm sure that you know people like that in your life. Just look around. I'm sure you know people who, when you think of them, you think, I could trust them. I could trust them with anything. Whatever they say they're going to do, they do it, and they do it when they say they're going to do it. Now, if you don't know any people like that in your life, you really need to get some good friends. You really need to find some people like this in your life, even if it means you have to go out and find them and pay them to be your friend, not to be your friend, but to be your mentor, your coach, your guide in these situations. Then I recommend that you do that, okay? I recommend that you find, because you're buying your life back. You're paying for getting out of a situation of no integrity. If every friend and acquaintance and person that you know of in your life is somebody that you don't really trust, that you wouldn't trust with your house keys, with your wife or husband, with your kids, with your money, if you don't have people like that in your life, you need to get people like that in your life, because it's very unlikely that you will become that kind of person without having people in your life that you can model, people that you look up to, people that you go, wow, I want to be like that too. And then you study them, you model them, you hang out with them, you talk with them, you exchange ideas with them, you ask them questions, you become a student, if you will, of a way of life that you look up to, that you aspire to be. And I promise you that very quickly, depending upon your mentor or your coach's abilities and talents and interest in wanting to teach you, because there's a lot of mentors and coaches that you will never meet. I look up to and admire and learn from people who I will never meet. That means I buy their books, I buy their CDs, I buy their DVDs, I study their programs online, I learn from them. I may never meet them. If they come to my town, you want to better believe that I'm going to pay the ticket and go over there and stand in line and shake their hand and let them know I've learned a lot from you. And this is what I do, and this is who I am in the world, and these are the people that I teach. And I learned it from you. So there are people like that in my own life that I may never meet, but I have personally spent a fortune going all over the world and meeting the leading masters and teachers in the world of transformation, spirituality, psychology, ontology, philosophy. I've made it a point in my life. I've made it my life's mission and my life's purpose to go and learn from the masters that I have found, however they came across my path. But When I see it, I recognize it. When I hear it, it resonates with me, and I know. So if there are people like that in your life, people that you admire, that you look up to, that you would like to learn from, make it your business. Make it your business to go learn everything that you can from them. Gather their knowledge. People like that love to give their knowledge away. People like that love to share what they've learned and to help other people and to do everything they can to make the world a better place. More than likely, if you know a person like that, or you have a mentor like that, or a teacher like that that you admire or look up to, more than likely, they have teachers and mentors that they look up to, that they have sought out to learn their lessons. And that's what has integrity. You see, if something moves your soul, something gives you goosebumps, or gives you, moves your heart, makes you laugh, or moves you to tears, that is the way your soul speaks to you. That is the way your subconscious mind speaks up, is through feelings, emotions, body sensations, dreams, visions, desires. They're awakened in the subconscious and move through the nervous system, move through the central nervous system, so that they become like goosebumps or chills, or your hair stands on end. And the same is true when those things that mean the most to you have been violated. When you've, and I know just from being a human being myself and from working with tens of thousands of other people over a 35-year career now, that every human being has a desire to touch other people's lives, to make a difference in the world, and to move the world in some way, to make the world a better place because you're here, because your life is meaningful, because you've lived your life in a way that made a difference for other people, that left a legacy for other people. And so that's why we've created Embrace Growth. That's why we've created a foundation called the Legacy of Love Foundation, and its sole purpose is literally to leave a legacy of love for future generation, and to do that through developing seminars and workshops. And why seminars and workshops? Because people are tribal. Fish gather together in schools, birds flock together in flocks, horses gather together in herds, and human beings gather together in tribes, families, tribes, communities. And there's a reason we do that. In the beginning, it was just all about survival. But we are long past survival now. Very few of us, especially if you're watching this television show, are concerned with our survival. You're not worried about where you're going to sleep tonight, or where your next meal's going to come from, or what you're going to be doing, you know, a year from now. For the most part, you know that you will be happy, or you will be healthy, and that you will stay alive. So survival's not an issue for people watching this television show. In fact, food, clothing, shelter, sleep, sex, those are all basic animal survival needs. And once those are handled, then this is part of Massey's hierarchy of values. There's another level of values that belong only to humans. Only humans have these values. Animals don't have these values that I'm going to mention. They're values about belonging, about relationship, about love, honor, respect, making a difference. Those are values that animals don't have, and that people who are solely concerned with survival don't necessarily have those values. They're innate. In other words, they're buried. The first thing they got to do is figure out how to stay alive. So once you figure that out, all of society as you know it, the society that you live in, if you're watching this show, has pretty much handled survival, or you wouldn't even be sitting in a house watching a TV right now, okay? So once survival's handled, then quality of life becomes the main thrust, the main concern for humanity. Quality of life, not just my life, that's part of it. Yeah, I want to have a good quality of life. You want to have a good quality of life. Now that I know that I'm going to eat, I become concerned about what I'm going to eat. Is it healthy? Does it taste good? Does it look nice? Is it served on a clean plate? Those are human things that we worry about. Quality of life, that becomes the main thrust for humanity. So you wouldn't even be watching this show. You would have turned it off a long time ago if you weren't interested in the quality of your life. And not only the quality of your life, but the quality of the life of people around you and the world we live in. Those become a concern, and whether or not you are consciously aware of it, you are subconsciously motivated to have a greater quality of life, a deeper relationship, to experience love, fulfillment, self-expression, and to make a difference in the world, and to be spiritually connected, to something deeper, wiser, more eternal than our own petty little life and our little minor concerns with life. We're talking about improving your quality of life and the quality of life for other human beings. If you think about it, that's not just a human concern, but a spiritual concern, because we become motivated to affect life beyond our own personal life. And there's a point in your life, many of you are there, certainly when you're parents you care about this, where you become concerned with what's there after I'm gone. What kind of legacy am I leaving? Not just what will they say about me at my funeral, or what will my kids tell my grandkids about their mom and dad, but what's the world that my grandchildren and their children, what's the world that I'm leaving that they will live in? That is a concern that is beyond your own lifetime. It is beyond the scope of your own personal life. And I believe that that's a higher human concern, and one could say that's a spiritual concern. You know, when we're concerned about anything, or we're involved in anything, we're motivated by something that is beyond the scope of our own lifetime, then one could point at something that is eternal, something that is lasting, something that is meaningful, and I would call that a spiritual concern. So as human beings, we have our mental issues. You know, sometimes you just can't get your head straight. It doesn't mean you're not a normal person. You know, there's many people who know my wife and I. You know, it's happened a number of times that we've run into people. They go, "Oh, I watch your show. I'm so glad to know you. You've made such a difference in my life." And we invite them to a seminar or a workshop or something like that. And their response is often, "Well, I'm not crazy," you know, as if to come to a workshop or a seminar meant that there was something wrong with you. Nothing could be further from the truth. First of all, we don't do psychology in our seminars and workshops. It's not therapy. It's a seminar. It's a workshop. It's an educational event. It's about learning to be the best possible person that you could be, learning to communicate better, learning to understand what motivates people in life, learning to be able to be up to whatever it is you're up to. Some people are up to getting married. Some people are up to getting a divorce. Some people are up to staying in their relationship and having it be better. Some people are just trying to hang on after 20 years of marriage and now everything's gone dead and they wonder what's next. Some people are trying to get back with somebody that they divorced earlier. I mean, people are in different places in relationships. And that's just in the realm of relationships. If we took it into the realm of your physical body, what kind of shape is that in? What are you looking for? What about having peak optimal health and living to be 100 years old, fully conscious and aware and alert and feeling good? That's a whole nother realm of possibility that is possible for human beings. And it's something that we teach, not directly, but indirectly. The technology that we teach in our seminars and workshops help you to live a longer, fuller, happier life. You naturally become healthier physically once all of the mental and emotional issues that are causing a madrian, a toxic cocktail of hormones and neurological synapses to fire in your body. Whenever you're confused, doubtful, angry, upset, hurt, disappointed, frustrated, any of those what we would call negative emotions will cause a chemical reaction in the body. That stuff's toxic and it will kill you. In fact, that's what has people age and eventually die. It would be like putting dirty fuel in your brand new car. It'd be like never changing the oil. It'd be like driving it at high speed all the time with the brake, with one foot on the brake. It would be like changing the gears without using the clutch. They don't have clutch, but it would be like abusing a vehicle. To abuse a motor vehicle is what the metaphor I was using, is synonymous with what we do to our body when we have mental and emotional and spiritual disconnections going on, and then we're on top of that, if those mental, spiritual, and emotional disconnections cause us to eat toxic food, smoke a lot, drink a lot, not sleep enough, too much sex, whatever it is that we're doing to our body to attempt to feel better, all of that stuff is an attempt to feel better. All addictions, and I'm making this assertion here, all addictions are a response to unfinished business. All addictions, even though they become physical or chemical later on as they set in, started off as a symptom, as a compulsory act in an attempt to feel better about something that was going on inside that was incomplete, unwhole. So like the metaphor I was using earlier of having a bicycle wheel with all the spokes tuned so that it worked. In other words, trying to make your life work in an unworkable environment. Trying to get along, to survive, to feel better, to live another day, to get by with or get away with one more thing in an attempt to try to feel better. So I don't care if it's smoking, sex, drinking, drugs, gambling, porno, whatever it is that's your thing, or overeating or undereating or eating and throwing up. Everybody has some kind of compulsive thing. I bet you I've said one of yours if you're watching this show that we feel compelled to do. Now, whether or not you're able to control that compulsion and do something about it, or whether or not you're able to find a healthy outlet for that, or whether or not you're able to eventually complete whatever it was that was incomplete from your childhood or from some incident in your life, your ability to deal with that will make the symptom called addictions go away. It'll just disappear because it will no longer serve a purpose. I'm talking really about dealing with your life coming from the point of view of integrity as a way of healing yourself, and by extension, healing your relationships with the people in your life, healing your finances, healing your body, and eventually healing the world. Can you imagine what it would be like, what the world would be like if everybody took that on? Can you imagine what it would be like to live in a world where who people are is that they're constantly creating an atmosphere and an environment of integrity and honor, completion and wholeness? Like they wouldn't be interested in anything but that. Can you imagine if the people in your life, your family, your husband or wife, your boyfriend, girlfriend, children, parents, those people, your teachers, your friends, even when you stepped out of integrity, they called you back to where you used to be? I'm going to end the show with a story from a tribe in Africa that this tribe in Africa that lives in a state of integrity, and when anybody from the tribe does something that is against the ethics or the morals of the tribe, when they break away from their own highest, truest self and break one of the codes of honor of that tribe, the entire tribe stops whatever they're doing. If they're working in the field, they're hunting, building, whatever they're doing, they all stop and they go and create a large circle in the center of the village around the person who stands in the center of the circle. And then one by one, every person in the village tells a story of something good that that person has done. Something that that person has done that has value and has brought value to their lives and to the lives of their tribe and their people. And no one is permitted to leave until every person has spoke. And nobody's permitted to make up something or exaggerate, just to simply tell the true stories, the incidences and things that person has done that were good and valuable in their lives. And then when everybody has spoken, the entire village leaves and goes back about their business. What if we lived in a world in which to have integrity was just the way it is, and that who you surrounded yourself were people who called forth that integrity, who would not hear anything but the highest and best in you, and that even if you stepped off the path, that they called you back onto it by reminding you who you really are. So that's what I'm calling upon you to do today. That's my love talk for the day, is I'm calling you to challenge yourself to live a life of integrity and to bring that into every aspect of your life, and to do that with love and kindness and compassion and honor. This is Gregory Morgan, and you've been watching Love Talk. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you next week.
برنامه دنیای عشق با دکتر آزیتا سایان، برنامه‌ای که تمامی سوالهای شما را جواب می‌دهد. ازدواج، عشق، سکس، همجنسگرایی، فرزندان، والدین، خیانت، از یوتیوب لایو، لایو استریم، فیسبوک و اینستاگرام لایو. سه‌شنبه ها و پنجشنبه ها 10 شب به وقت ایران و 10:30 صبح به وقت لس آنجلس. تلفن تماس با استودیو 818 532 6655.
The Embrace Growth app is finally here. You start by signing in just as you would online, and from there, you'll see all of your account settings. Once in the app, you'll have access to events and all of Embrace Growth's original content. Registering for workshops and seminars is easier than ever, and tools for managing your profile and options are built right in. Schedule private sessions and connect with the global Embrace Growth community. Download it today on the App Store. Embrace Growth has a new home online where you can easily register for workshops and events, order from the online store, and be part of the worldwide community of Embrace Growth graduates. You'll be able to see Dr. Rosita Sayan and Mr. Gregory Morgan in your favorite seminars. Visit us today at embracegrowth.com.
شکست وجود ندارد، فقط پیروزی واقعی است. سمینار از شکست تا پیروزی توسط دکتر آزیتا سایان دوشنبه 14 می در دابل تری بای هیلتون سانتا مونیکا. برای رزرو جا و اطلاعات بیشتر با دفتر Embrace Growth تماس بگیرید. 310 460 2600.
A haven for the weary soul. A source of inspiration and community, redesigned to bring you meaningful experiences and unforgettable events. We are a worldwide community of vibrant individuals, displayed in the people who are a part of it, from many nations, backgrounds, and beliefs. Through powerful outreach programs, the struggles of everyday life are confronted and conquered, transforming those who participate into the best versions of themselves. One-on-one sessions are available to keep you headed in the right direction, coupled with the best resources to remind you how to live, whether at home or elsewhere. Programs designed for men, providing the building blocks of maturity, commitment, integrity, and leadership, paving the way for productive and fulfilling manhood. Beyond an understanding of masculine leadership is its application in daily life and development into something truly unique. Exclusive training for women, encouraging growth and empowerment through an acceptance of their true identities, redefining interactions, and changing the viewpoint through which life is seen. Embracing the woman within and accessing facets of your personality hidden beneath the surface. Showing our youth the value of integrity and reliability by creating an indwelling desire to succeed with honor, basing the future on a solid foundation of ideals that will guide them through life, leading by example, and showing others how to clearly convey their thoughts in a compelling way, creating a culture of mature leaders who can help others achieve self-confidence and their goals. Real people and real lives are changed for the better. With every event, more are touched and come to an understanding of their place in this world and their community. Embrace Growth is run by a passionate team and led by the diligence and inspiration of Dr. Azita Sayan and Mr. Gregory Morgan, who consistently teach life lessons based on what works, rather than the passing fads of the times.
Welcome to the all-new EmbraceGrowth.com. You'll have access to all the content you love at the click of a button. Videos of seminars, events, and the ability to sign up for workshops. Direct access to digital downloads right from your mobile devices. Stay in the know and see our latest graduate events. Watch your favorites anytime, anywhere. Visit us today at EmbraceGrowth.com.